Hello, everyone. My name is Laura Rezac, and I'm the Associate Rector at St. Stephen's Episcopal Church in Charleston, South Carolina. And I'm here on my back porch again for this week's Family Faith Formation. This week, I'd like to talk to parents and also to any older teens that might be listening about being an upstander. So we're about maybe 7, 8 weeks into school so far. We should be closing in on the end of the first quarter if we haven't already. And I know just from my years as a student and an educator that oftentimes in school there can be different kinds of conflicts. And sometimes those conflicts can involve one person bullying another. So being mean to somebody for no good reason. We also can witness incidents of bullying just in our daily lives as adults, even if we're not in school. We can be walking down the street or on public transportation or wherever, and we can see someone perhaps being mean to somebody else because of their race or their gender expression or sexuality or language, any number of reasons. So it's really important that we think as Christians, as people who are trying to walk in the way of love of Jesus, about what we might do if we are witness, or rather I should say when we are, right? We can plan for such an eventuality. We can think about what would we do as faithful Christians if this were to happen right in front of us. And this is a conversation worth having with pretty young children all the way up through us as adults. If you are going to talk about this with kids, I recommend picking a time when it's not going to be, sit down family meeting. Let's have a lot of pressure to talk about this. This is a great conversation to raise while you're doing yard work together or chores, or if you're driving somewhere. It can be just a little less pressure. Just talk about this. One way to kind of raise the subject is just to say maybe an experience that you've had where you've been on the receiving end of bullying, or if you've seen it in somewhere else, whether that's when you were at school or maybe in your daily life. And that can be an experience that you can share and that you can use to build on a conversation about what might we do, what might we want to do the next time that we're in a situation where we're seeing somebody being victimized. The thing I come back to as Christians, the spiritual touchstone, is that way of love that Jesus tells us that if we want to follow him, we need to love one another. They'll know we are Christians by our love, right? And love is not just that gooey feeling that warms our hearts. Love is action. And love is mercy, and love is kindness, and love is courage, and love is justice. So our love has to have its boots on. It can't just be warm feelings. It also has to be the action that we take. We need to remember always that we are never going to meet someone that God doesn't love, whether that's the person being bullied or whether that's the bully themselves, right? Everyone we meet is someone that God loves, and that includes us too. So when we witness an injustice, when we witness someone being bullied, and we want to be an upstander, we want to try to protect the weak, we want to do the right thing, it's really important that we always stay in touch with that love, because otherwise we can end up maybe getting drawn into violence or something that's going to end up hurting us, right? So keeping that focus on love, I think, is really important when we're talking about standing up to bullying. There's a great organization called Hollaback, and on the Facebook page when I post this video, I will post a link to Hollaback. You can actually take a Zoom training. I've done it. I think they're really, really great opportunities. They're about an hour and a half, and it walks you through scenarios and some real skills that you can bring to instances where you see someone being bullied or harassed. And they have programs for younger people all the way up through adults. So in brief, the ways that Hollaback recommends that you be an upstander can be boiled down to what they call the 5 Ds. The 5 Ds. And I've got them written down here. I'm going to read them and make sure I don't forget one. So distract, delegate, document, delay, and direct. So 5 Ds. So I'm going to explain it to you briefly so that even if you don't take the whole training, even though I recommend that, I know not everyone has time for that, you can talk with your kids about this, about different ways that they might intervene in a situation where they're seeing someone being bullied or harassed. So the first way is to distract. So somebody is harassing someone else, you can cause a distraction. A couple ways you could do that. You could drop something, right? Make a noise. People might stop looking at what's going on and look over there, right? Easy, right? That's one way that you could do it. You could also go up to the person who is being bullied or harassed and just say, hey, can you give me directions to if you're in a school, right? Could you tell me where the nearest water fountain is? People might not be using water fountains now because of COVID. Maybe that was a bad example. Can you give me directions? I'm not sure where the closest door is, the closest way to get to the gym is from here. Can you help me? Or if you're on the street, you could say, hey, didn't I see you at so-and-so's party the other day? So you can engage the person being bullied in a way that disrupts what the bully or the harasser is doing. So that's one way, to cause some kind of distraction. That's not engaging the bully directly. That's engaging the person that's on the receiving end of that attention, or causing some other kind of commotion that disrupts whatever's going on. Okay, so distract, that's one option. Another option is delegate. And this is the one that I would really recommend for kids. And that is, you tell somebody else what's happening, right? So if you're in school and you witness something that's not okay, the loving thing to do would be to go and tell the teacher. Like, hey, this isn't okay. I just witnessed this. This is not cool. Or tell the principal, or tell your coach, right? Some adult that's there who's responsible for making sure that the classroom is a good and healthy environment, okay? Now, sometimes there might be adults that are doing bullying, and I know that can happen sometimes in really messed up situations. And so then you might not want to delegate to that adult. You can go to another adult and ask them to address the situation. Your parents, teachers, right? Telling a trusted adult, super, super important. If you're in public and you're watching harassment happen, delegating might be finding a security guard, or if you're at a train stop or on board a train, maybe calling the conductor over, something like that. We don't really have trains here in Charleston that we use, but as an example, right? Finding somebody in authority that you can inform. So we have distract, causing a commotion of some kind. We have delegating, telling a trusted person about what's going on. Third one is document. So if you are in public and you have a cell phone, videotaping what's happening. And that's something, again, you have to be mindful of your safety, right? Even if you're in school, if you have your cell phone, again, different schools have different rules. That's also something you can do, is video it. Now, hear me on this. If you are going to choose that D, document, we're not videoing it so that we can put it on TikTok, or we can put it, wherever and get views, right? We're documenting it so that way we can talk to the person who's being bullied or harassed and say, hey, I got that all on video. What do you want to do with it? Do you want us to go to the principal together, or the teacher together, or the police together and show them this video? It's not for you to video to put online, right? If you don't have your phone and you still want to document, you can write down as it's happening what's happening. Like, that might be good in class. If you've got your notebook out, you can do that. And then if you have, notes that were made as it was going on, that can be powerful, right? To give to the person, to say, hey, I made a record of this. I saw it. I was a witness. That's another really powerful way to intervene and to be an upstander, is to document. Okay? So we have distract, we have delegate, we have document, and then we have delay. So delay is something's happening right in front of you, and someone's being bullied, someone's being harassed, and it's really scary and it's really shocking. And in the moment you freeze and you're not sure what to do, or you realize it is not safe for you to get involved, that it might get violent. This happens, right? And you might not feel okay intervening directly, But after it's over, you go up to the person who's being bullied or harassed and you say, I saw that and that wasn't cool. Are you okay? Do you need me to walk with you somewhere? Are you all right? I that's a way that you can intervene. And even though it didn't stop the thing from happening, for the person that's being bullied or harassed, they have that feeling of, wow, somebody noticed and somebody cared. It can be a reassuring thing to know that they aren't just alone, or that everybody didn't feel the way that the bully felt. Okay? I think delay is really powerful when it's combined with document or delegate, right? If you need the delay to intervene, but then you can say, okay, let's go, I'll go with you if you want to the teacher or the coach or whoever, can be really, really powerful, really important. Okay? So distract, cause a commotion, delegate, talk to an adult, document, record it or write it down in some way, delay, go up afterwards, and then the last one is direct. This is one that for kids can be a more difficult one to recommend, just because, again, you don't want kids to get involved in any kind of a violent situation. But you can talk about, if you see something happening that's not all right, if you feel like it's safe for you to do so, it's so powerful to say directly to a bully, that's not okay. Stop doing that. Leave him alone. Leave her alone. And it's not being violent, right? I would never recommend going up and punching someone. I don't think that's what Jesus calls us to do. But Jesus was not afraid to speak truth to power. He was not afraid to stand up for people who were being abused. He did it all the time to very powerful people. He spoke directly to them. So I think we can do that too, and say to someone who's harassing someone else in public, leave them alone. Like, what's wrong with you? And sometimes having one person speaking up like that can empower other people to chime in and say, yeah, leave that person alone. Like, that's not okay. And it can help de-escalate the situation. Sometimes it can also escalate the situation. Again, we have to use some wisdom here. But it is one thing that we can have in our toolkit. So, distract, delegate, document, delay, and then direct interference. I think it'd be good to talk as a family about some of these options. And as you share about things that you've seen, maybe also share ways that you intervened or ways that you wish you had, right? I saw, when I was a kid, I saw the neighbor, bullying, the other neighbor across the street. And I really wish that I had talked to my parents about it. I really wish that I had told my babysitter. Those are great examples. Or you can say, if you have used one of these techniques in the past, you can share that story with your kids too. Hey, I did this, and this is how the situation turned out. And I feel good about what I did because, or I don't feel good about what I did because, right? But this is a starting place. Our kids are learning from our stories, the things that we share with them, the things that we teach them, and also from our examples. So as you go out into the world, adults, if you see anything that is harassment, something that's not okay, you can also remember those 5 Ds. And if your kids are with you, talk to them about your response, about why you made the choices you did as you go along and live your life. Being an upstander is something that all of us have to think about, whether we are in school or whether we are grown-ups living our lives. Jesus calls us to love one another and calls us to have courage as we walk on this way of love. I'm going to put the link for Hollaback so that if you want to get more training, you absolutely can. I highly recommend it. In the meantime, be well, stay safe, wear your mask, probably even if you're vaccinated, hopefully not for that much longer. And I'll see you soon.